good morning, and good night. Thanks again for downloading the Body Snatchers podcast. And when you listen, stream, or download straight to your device, Castbox is your best option. Castbox is a free platform on your computer or mobile device that promotes podcasts just like ours to millions of listeners worldwide. Go to the App Store or Google Play and look for the orange symbol. If you're listening on your computer, go to castbox.fm and look for our show. Remember, if you like what you hear today, don't forget to subscribe and comment. So let's get started with Steve, Tino, Gia, and John with the news. Enjoy the show.
All right, everyone, hot mics, we got cold drinks and hot vapes, and we're ready to rock and roll. But before we do that, the website is bodysnatcherspodcast.com. And I know what you're thinking. Is there something new there, Steve? Is there something we should be looking for? Something cool? Fucking A. Not only do we have bios for the Spank Bank and distributors for all of your electronic devices to listen to our show, we got swag now for guys and gals. We got shirts, tank tops, sweaters, mugs, and more. Hats are coming real soon. Like sooner than later. They might be up by the time you listen to this, so you don't got to worry about that. The bottom line is we have all kinds of colors and sizes for you, so check it out. It's a couple of clicks. We'll send it right to your doorstep. We looked at every piece of swag personally to make sure it was great quality, good material, and we put the prices as low as possible. So go to bodysnatcherspodcast.com, click the shop tab up top, and check it out. If you got any questions, that contact tab is 2 tabs over, so help yourself. You're going to love your order. Let us know if you like it.
They were all stitched together with the finest silks made by the children with the tiniest hands and the smallest sweatshop.
Yeah, those sweatshops were fun to go to. Everyone was real nice.
I think the sweatshops will be really big just with a bunch of like people jam-packed next to each other.
It's quality, not quantity. You need 6 good Asians. That's it.
Yeah, that's all.
60 good Asians.
Can we legally say you're going to love the way you look, or is that copyrighted?
That's copyrighted, but they'll like the way they look. They'll like the way they look.
Would it be copywritten? I don't want to be that guy. I just,
Probably.
you know what? Carry on. It's fine.
You know.
We got enough grammar Nazis here to fucking worry about it.
We could just say Tiny TM.
Are we talking about
No
Steven?
trademark.
No, I meant trademark, but okay.
Was that a big wiener joke?
Oh,
How the fuck would that be? I don't want to do this.
I don't have the energy. Leave me alone.
That's it. That's the straw that broke the camel's back.
All right, John, hit us with some news.
all right. First up, well, as most of you know, the Full Metal Alchemist live action film is releasing pretty freaking soon. They actually have given us official release dates. So Japan obviously is going to get it released first. But it will also be released around a bunch of different countries. Actually, about 400 different theaters are getting this December 1st. So Japan, United States, Europe, and a bunch of other countries. I think they said about 190 countries around the world will be getting this, which sounds pretty cool. I'm definitely going to try to see where they are showing this movie because I try not to look too much at the trailers. I don't know if you guys look at every new trailer that comes out, but I feel like the movie can go either way, but I have higher hopes for this than some of the other anime to live action movies that have come out.
I'm pissed off they didn't whitewash anything.
Yeah, they should have. They really should have.
They should have, just because the characters are supposed to be white. But I mean, but with that being said, it's not too big of a deal just as long as they do it well. Like, I've never had an issue with not having, like, I've always been okay with picking the best actors and actresses for things regardless of their color matching. But for some reason, for culture, it's perfectly fine to change a character that is supposed to be white into a person of color, but it's completely wrong to do it the opposite way. And I can kind of see arguments to be had against that, because for the longest time, there were characters that should have been POCs that were cast as white actors and actresses. But I mean, it is what it is. But I'm really looking forward to it. Like, the trailers look amazing for it.
I mean, I wouldn't give a fuck that they're switching, him and making him, well, Ed specifically, and making him Asian. Like, my only problem is he just looked super fake to me, like in the trailers. That's my only problem with all the trailers. Everything
He
looked
did.
so
He looked
dope,
like he
but
was
Well,
doing cosplay,
so-
didn't
It
it?
looks like he has a Lego helmet.
And it's
on.
pretty much is what it is.
Yeah, the hair didn't sit well with it.
Not the Lego helmet wig, but
They could have just gave him, a little bit of dye and called it a day. And
well,
that would've been
no,
cool.
because like so in places like Korea, it's more common for them to like dye their hair super light colors, but in Japan, it's like one of those stigmatism things where they don't really do it, and it's like they're considered like huge rebels if they do like dye their hair, which isn't too big of a deal. But most actors and everything, they're not going to bleach their hair out because bleaching your hair ruins it. Like my hair's garbage now, right now. So
But I'm sure they still could have given him a wig that looked a lot more realistic.
well, yeah, they could have done a better job with the wigs, but I think cosplay in Japan is actually really, really good, and they get. I think what they were trying to do with it was to make it look more like not
nah.
like real, but not real, if that makes sense. Like I'm not sure how to express it, but to be fair, they probably spent all their money on the little bit of CG that they have to make it actually look good.
All the CG, because Alfonso is 100% CG throughout the whole movie.
There's trannies up and down Chicago Road with lower budgets that have better looking hair.
I hope they gave these guys some money. I mean, it's a hassle trying to do a movie with a series that was 51 episodes long, or a manga that was however long. You got to put that into a movie, and you got to have people walking away not feeling disappointed.
Yeah.
The budget already looks better than Tokyo Ghoul.
Well, because I mean, they bumped his age up from what it was. So originally in the manga he's 15, but in the movie he's going to be 20. So
Really?
I think they're trying to tell the entire story in the movie instead of doing it in larger chunks.
Huh.
I'm okay with that.
So I wonder what the movie's going to be about. If they're going to do like a really fast backstory, then go right into the middle or closer to the end.
Probably, because they're probably going to want to get into the more action-packed parts of the series, like where the homunculi are all there and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
That's a good idea. Just cover it all and go to one of the best, most famous scenes in Full Metal Alchemist and do the best you can, so that Tino doesn't talk shit about you on his little podcast.
It's always going to be dwarfed by the anime,
Yeah, that's
so it's whatever. But I mean, just for the fun of seeing it live action, it's whatever.
yeah, I mean, would you guys prefer that they would have broke it up into chunks, or would you rather just sit through a slightly longer movie?
I wouldn't want like 3 or 4 movies trying to squeeze. I mean, even 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 movies, wouldn't be able to squeeze everything that's in there. There's so much detail, and you've got 2 fucking animated series that are different. Like, no,
Yeah.
it's too much.
There's no good way to do it. I just want them to do the best they can.
True. I mean, but yeah, I am curious to see how long this movie actually will be, because I don't think I've been able to find a legitimate runtime for it.
Would you look up IMDb?
Got him.
I didn't see it, but maybe I just wasn't looking hard enough.
That's like the first thing you look at.
Why are you over there just dang, Tino?
Sharks in here.
Well,
No, he's right. I should have looked it up.
what the fuck,
But-
man? They may not have posted it yet, though. I'm actually at IMDb right now, and I don't see a runtime.
Tino, apologize.
Bitch.
He could have lied to me. I feel like Gia would have lied. Gia would have been like, actually, yeah, I did look it up. So just a second while I remember, she would have looked it up and told me. And been like, yeah, it just came back to me.
I'm looking it up right now, actually, to try to see if I could help.
We both want to one up you piece of shit.
I wasn't trying to.
I
one
already
up.
told you it's like
I'm like-
2 hours.
Oh my god!
I know, right?
Fuck you.
Actually, that's Gia.
Wikipedia says it's 135 minutes,
Good luck to them. Good luck to those boys.
It'll be fine.
so it says 135. We shall see.
Oh, Winry's got a fat ass. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Right? Them power cheeks.
Mm.
Oh, boy.
I like when she wears that jumpsuit, but she takes half of it off and ties it around her waist, and she's wearing like half a shirt.
Oh, man.
My goodness.
Uh-huh. And she usually like takes a piece of fabric or something and puts it in her mouth while she puts her hair up. Like, yeah, put that hair up, baby.
Gee whiz. I just went from 6 to midnight just now.
I like how you just called a jumpsuit or a coverall jumpsuits, but
I call them jumpsuits at work. That's what they are. You jump in them. The fuck?
shut the fuck
Now you
up.
apologize.
No, because a jumpsuit is different than coveralls.
I was just trying not to correct you. I started off correcting you.
Shut the fuck up.
So you gonna go correct John, but you ain't gonna correct Steven with his bum ass.
There you go.
White privilege.
But he's part Mexican.
Yeah, but I
so-
can use the white privilege.
Not to the cops.
God damn.
I just did it again.
Right?
All right, John, go ahead.
I think nobody just wants to argue.
Because my
with
white
me.
privilege. What don't you?
What's up? What's up, John?
I know I did want to talk about the new iPhone release and how people are already breaking their screens. It's just like tradition now. It's just people unwrap their phones and it's
Oh,
like,
yes.
all right, I'm just gonna throw this on the ground.
To be fair, I dropped my S8 like probably the second day I had it because I took the case off to clean the backside of it. Perfectly fine. No cracks, nothing. Structural integrity of the phone is absolutely fine. Well, I saw that picture of that shattered ass iPhone 10 and I was just like, holy crap.
Yeah, because the front and back are all glass now, and
Oh, I was just saying, it's the same with the Samsungs. Like since the S6, I want to say,
mhm.
it's been glass both front and back.
Well, yeah, Samsung has had the wireless charging for longer than the iPhone, so
Yeah.
that makes sense. I mean, they're gonna have to find a better material or a way stronger glass that would allow them to have wireless charging, but also, have that glass back. I don't really care for it because every phone that I've gotten immediately goes in the case. I usually, if I can't purchase the case, like the same day I get the phone will stay in the original packaging until I can get a case for it.
But the phone feels so fucking good out of the case, though.
I'll
feels
play
so
with it for
good.
like 5 minutes, and it goes in the case.
That's a lie. Every time I see you have that fucking stupid ass life proof case.
That's not very safe, John. You should know better than that.
How is that a lie?
No, it's not safe. Shit still breaks in those cases.
Very rarely, though. And then LifeProof pays for the phone. Yeah, LifeProof pays for the phone repair and giving you a free new case if that ever happens. Because it happened to my S4 once, but that was kind of like through a fault of my own. But they replaced the phone, like they paid outright for a new phone
Jeez.
and a new case, and I never had
Trust
an
me,
issue
I
again. So
wouldn't have been using LifeProof cases since the iPhone 4 if they didn't work.
You know what I have? I have a fucking piece of shit, super ultra thin case because I don't like a lot of material on there because I like it to feel as sexual as possible in my hand. And it looks like an old original NES controller. So sometimes I play myself when I leave the phone upside down on the table and it's looking up at me and I just want to play NES and I grab it like it is. And I'm like, oh, it's my phone.
God. Well, what I do now with it is I get the like military spec thin cases. Like I don't get the little cheapo ones like your Nintendo one, I guess. But like the one I have right now is called a Scooch and it has like this little wingman thing that pops off of it. But the last case I had was a spec and I had it on my S7 for like a year and a half and I dropped the shit out of that thing and it was perfectly fine. And I also put just Gorilla Glass. Yeah, I ran spec and then I got this one because it has the same like specs as the spec case. So I just switched over, but I put Gorilla Glass.
Team OtterBox for life.
Well, the OtterBox owns them now.
It's bulky as fuck, though.
See, I
it's
had
like
the
having a
OtterBox,
fucking brick in my
but-
back pocket.
Yeah.
Anyone get one of those pop sockets yet?
Fuck is
Yeah.
that?
They're those little things. You've probably seen them on the back of your phone, and they stick to it. And they,
no, that just
they expand in and out, and they bend and shit. They're fucking amazing.
I don't have a need for it.
Got anything exciting to talk about? Because phones are just like phones.
You can prop it up like a laptop or like a tablet.
God, you're such a fucking fan. You got anything else, John?
If anybody's looking to get into either or PlayStation or Xbox, they've already started announcing like all the Black Friday deals. Costco's going to have the 1 terabyte PlayStation 4 bundled with Destiny 2 or Call of Duty World War II for $290. And if you're just looking for the system by itself, it'll be $190, which I think is pretty damn good for a system with a terabyte hard drive.
Hint, hint,
Yeah.
John.
And then
Right.
Xbox
Yeah.
One S sports bundle comes with NBA 2K18 or Madden NFL 18. 2 controllers and a 3-month Game Pass membership for $300, or you could just get the 500 gigabyte system by itself for $220, which doesn't seem as good as a deal, but with me already having one, I don't care.
Don't buy another Xbox,
Right.
guy.
I'm just gonna upgrade next year once I can get a nicer TV. But for now, I don't need it.
For what?
Just get a
If I
PlayStation.
get a PlayStation, I'm gonna get the
What the fuck,
the
man?
Pro.
Get the Pro. The Pro is good.
Yeah, if I get
Yeah, John, just get a PlayStation. I don't know. To be fair, I just have a regular. I just got one of the 1 terabyte ones to replace my one that broke in transit. And honestly, I don't really care about if it's 4K or not, so it doesn't really bother me. See, I do have a 4K TV, but I'm still not. I don't really
It's
care.
just not
I
a
just
big
play
deal.
the games that I play.
That's what Tino
Yeah, it's
said
not a
when he
big-
first got it. He told us not to go out of our way, so I still got.
Well, yeah, but Tino, when he first got it, he was super excited. Yeah. But like for me, like I said, just because I don't really care for that. Like the graphics on the PlayStation 4 are already really fucking good, regardless of 4K or not. So I'm content.
Yeah, I take your guys' word for it because Tino's a hipster and he's also pretty extra. Plus, he's light skinned. I don't know what that means, but if he's not impressed with the 4K, then it must not.
No, if they would have had the 1 terabyte PlayStations out at the time, the normal ones, I probably would have took it back just to get that. I mean, I just don't. The extra RAM is nice, but that's it. The 4K means nothing to me. It's like you can barely tell. There's only a handful of games where you're like, oh, okay, yeah, there's a little something, something. That's it, man.
Yeah. I mean, if you already have one and you upgrade it, then the difference is minimal. But if you're jumping into it for the first time, it's like, might as well go get the nicer one.
I guess, but is it nicer because it's nicer, or is it nicer because they told you it was nicer?
Ooh, yeah. Can someone tell me the difference between 4K and true 4K?
Wow. Well, Gia's probably looking it up right now.
I don't really care about it.
That's what they said. That's their hook. It's true 4K.
I could here. Let me Google search this for you,
Yeah, go ahead. Look it up. See what happens.
and I'm gonna send you the let me Google this for you
Ultra
link.
high definition. There's actually a lot of factors involved, though. So even if Gia reads something, there's even more than that. Because I had read multiple articles before switching over to it.
Yeah. So it says difference between Ultra HD and 4K. Technically, ultra high definition is actually a derivative. They put the wrong word. Anyway, derivative of 4K digital cinema standard. However, while your local multiplex shows images in narrative 4096 by 2061 4K resolution, the new Ultra HD consumer format has a slightly lower resolution of 3840 by
Wait, did they say
2160.
narrative or native?
John.
What the fuck?
Did I
You
even
said
say narrative?
Do you
That's what I
really
was
think our
wondering.
listeners driving to work are just
No,
like,
derivative.
I'm
I said
dying to know?
derivative. I was like, where did I say narrative? No. They put derivation, but it should have been
No,
just
that was
derivative.
the first word you called out, and then I thought you said never mind.
I forgot what my fucking question was.
No, yeah, I said native.
Oh, okay.
I said native. It says shows images in native.
I was like, what kind of who
Yeah.
the fuck was writing this article?
Probably Steven.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody that was trying to use like slightly big words to try to look
Save
really,
their
really
job.
educated.
So that's exciting. Anything else?
But yeah, other than that, it was pretty much what I have for news. Nothing super exciting going on.
That's a fucking lie. Jason David Frank, the Green Power Ranger, tried to get into a fight with Jean-Claude Van Damme. That shit.
My man would have beat the fuck out of Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Right?
No, it wasn't that he tried to get into a fight. It was that Jean-Claude Van Damme tried to call his ass out and make him apologize, and he wasn't having that shit. JDF was like, nah, fuck you, and fuck your couch.
I hate both of them. I'm just gonna put it out there. Fuck them.
Why?
What do you mean why? Because Jason David Frank is like the most annoying person ever. His acting career never took off, so he just keeps holding on to this bullshit ass Power Rangers franchise as if they even give a fuck
Well,
about him.
so
and
he
they
holds
don't.
on to that because there's a lot of fans, but he's actually a really nice person, and he may not have gotten like taken off on the Power Rangers thing or acting in general, but he like owns a shit ton of dojos and he teaches martial arts, and he did a short MMA like stint, but like he literally teaches martial arts for like a living and then goes around and sees fans.
Is he a cool person? Sure. He can be cool, but he's annoying.
I don't know.
Like the way he is on social media is super annoying.
He was a dickhead to CM Punk. He's a jerk.
Yeah, the CM Punk thing was like, at first I was like, oh man, he's trying to call him out, and it was interesting for a couple weeks. But I'm telling you, for like almost 2 years, like CM Punk, every chance he got, and I was just like, can you just stop?
I mean,
Like,
that's most
please?
people when they're trying to call someone out to fight. Like, I'm just saying, like the Pacquiao and freaking Mayweather thing was like a thing for years and years and years until they finally did it.
But he was pretty much bullying CM Punk because he knows he's a big name and he knows he can't fight. So he was just trying to fucking pick him off.
Yeah, I mean that's how.
That's
I
not
think
something a Power Ranger does.
Well, he's not a Power Ranger
Right.
anymore, so it's irrelevant.
You say that, but that's not what he says. So
Everywhere he goes, he has that helmet.
That's because he sees fans everywhere he goes.
Oh my god, what about the bitch from VR Troopers? She had fans and she went on to have a career.
Hey,
The nerve of you mentioning VR Troopers.
VR
Half the fucking
Troopers
people
3
probably don't even know what you're
virtual
talking about.
reality. We are
The fucking the
VR.
female from VR Troopers went on to do soap operas for years and then went on to do movies after that. You know, everybody did a little something except the Red Ranger. He like became a firefighter or like a paramedic
One
or
of
some
them
shit. I
became like
forget.
a gay porn star or some shit. Like I was reading an article about the after.
No. That's,
Yeah, good find, John.
Yeah, that's false. He did not become a fucking porn star. A
Glad
gay
to know
porn
your
star.
Google isn't
Hey,
going to
man.
waste, bud.
I was trying to figure out what happened to all the Power Rangers, and that was one that was very surprising.
Jason David Frank was in a couple other movies that weren't like Power Ranger revolving, I guess, but not a whole lot.
Straight to DVD,
Yeah.
straight in the
Right?
trash.
Steven, name two. Was it Sharknado?
No,
Was it Sharknado 6
no.
when him and Chris Jericho hid under that fucking car?
Was he in that movie?
No. But
Okay.
if there was any movie that he would be in, it would be that.
God, if he was going to challenge somebody, he should go back in time and challenge Chris Benoit.
Oh god.
Wow.
Is that too strong?
So
He
garbage.
could have saved some lives for real. All right, let me stop. That'll come back to haunt me, I'm sure. Most people don't even know who Chris Benoit is. Did everybody get that joke or no?
Well, you know,
I
I
mean, we're
got it.
all in an age group where we watched wrestling and shit, so I would
Yeah.
hope that we all got it.
Vaguely remember that guy.
I was gonna say John doesn't know, that John didn't get it.
John was like, vaguely.
He's like, yeah, we're not gonna tell you on air too. You can look that shit up on your own
Yeah,
fucking
that's,
time.
I was
that's
too busy
depressing.
airsofting everybody.
Oh Jesus.
No, there's
Plus,
nothing wrong
wrestling,
with that. That's
wrestling's better than it's ever been. Let's not dwell it on.
I mean, I'm just gonna be fair. Like, I worked at a paintball field for like every summer when I was in high school because I thought that was more interesting, and I grew out of wrestling.
I tried to
So-
spend time outside versus watching wrestling. So
What the fuck do you do outside?
Fucking imagination.
Not get fat like your ass did.
I actually did
Soccer.
Oh,
Hey.
Steven, I want to tell you, I was watching this Family Guy episode earlier today, and it fucking had me in tears. Peter made a new friend, and he was like, "This guy's so cool, Lois." He's like, the hair on his forearm makes his watch look even cooler. And then they go on to say something along the lines of, "Oh yeah, my new friend is so cool." They were just like, one time he vaped at a funeral, and I thought of you.
That has to be one of the funniest shows on TV. I don't care what anyone says.
Well, not anymore. Now it's like that dog that you keep around and pet, but you really just want to put it down. Like if that show shouldn't still be on the air and then Futurama not be on the air. Futurama is 100,000 times better than
That new
Family
season
Guy.
of Futurama was really good.
Last season.
Last season, latest.
Yeah. It was the last. They're not coming back. to
I
that
believe
shit.
they're coming out with a movie, aren't they?
They have a lot of movies out. I don't know if they're doing another one, but I know that I'm happy that the series went off air and then came back long enough for them to actually have closure to it.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's something you don't get a lot of times.
Big fan of Closure.
Are you though?
Yeah, I never get dogged on it more than watching anime.
All right. Well, that was all I had to bring to the table. So
same.
I attack Jason David Frank. Gia defends him. Steven talks about nothing. John pretends he knows who Chris Benoit is. I think that's pretty much everything, right? That's a good recap.
Sounds accurate.
I think I talked about something, but I just don't remember.
No, you didn't.
All right, moving on. Is that enough for news? Let's move on before Tino makes us all kill our fucking selves.
Wow, the crippler.
The crippler crossface, you fucking casual. It's the most deadly move in wrestling.
Obviously.
Jesus.
Fuck, dude. I feel like I don't want to make more jokes about it. Like,
It's all terrible.
that's not a good idea.
All right, so we got Facebook.com/Body Snatchers Podcast, Twitter @Body Snatchers PC, and Instagram @Body Snatchers Podcast. Those are the places we live, so feel free to make them your own. Post, comment, like, and share.
Sweet. So I have a secondary place that I live, and it's actually on my cosplay page. So if you want to go ahead and check it out, it's facebook.com/Apola Star Cosplay. That's APOLA Star Cosplay. And basically over the next couple weeks, I'm going to be doing tutorials on building armor because I just got a crap ton of Warbler, which is a thermoplastic. And I'm going to compare it to two other kind of popular thermoplastics, which is Terraflex made by Tandy Leather and Thebra, which is a kind of newer one that I've heard mixed reviews about. So go ahead and swing on over. I'll be posting a lot of like cosplays that I'm working on, as well as doing those armor tutorials.
All right, I guess we are moving on to Thor Ragnarok, released on November 3rd. As of right now, it's November 7th. The budget was $180 million, and the box office now is $211.3 million. It got a.
Is that just local or overseas too?
I believe that's overseas, but it was the only number I saw, so I assume it's overseas.
Yeah.
So for the first week, that sounds about right.
Otherwise, they would have went out of their way. Yeah, you're probably right.
Well, I mean, I didn't know if that was just the U.S. like amount because it released overseas a couple days earlier than for us. So that's why I was curious.
If they did that just in the U.S., that's insane.
Pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah, I guess it's 122 million for just here. So that's still pretty impressive.
If that's how much they make in the movies, I gotta find me a Harvey Weinstein to do some stuff.
Holy shit. Actually, I'm just gonna give you a little bit of a correction really quick. I guess in China alone is 431 million.
Jeez.
Wow.
I don't know if that's like in their money or whatever, but it's up at 308.3 million at the international box now. So I guess that was like in their amount, but that's still a shit ton for China. Like,
That's a lot.
I'm glad they were allowed to see it.
Hold on, they're not North Korea.
well, they do kind of limit certain movies that they like boycott a lot of stuff.
Good for them. If anyone can do it, it's Marvel.
You mean Disney? Ever since Mulan.
So it has an 8.2 on IMDb, 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, and Roger and Ebert, if that's still a thing, it got a 3 out of 4.
Yeah, it is still a thing. And I just kind of want to backtrack really quick to a newsworthy article. Not Marvel, but Disney's talking about buying out like 2/3 of the Fox franchises too, which is all their media stuff, which means the X-Men might come back.
Earlier, and I completely forgot.
Yeah. Yeah, Tino mentioning Disney just kind of brought that back to the front of my mind. But yeah, man.
I could care less about the movies because they have to reboot all those shitty movies anyways if they choose to. But I'd be more excited for them to bring the actual mutants back.
You think the rated R is going down the drain?
No.
No, not at all.
I think they see how much of a moneymaker it can be, so I don't think they get rid of it.
Well, I mean, they're going to have to reboot anyway, so, I mean...
Well, Disney never had a problem with making money.
But, you know, we've already tasted the rated R, rated R movies, and I don't think fans would be happy if they decided to come out with, like, say, another Deadpool or some shit, and it was rated PG-13. Like, that wouldn't work.
Well, the only reason that they fucking took their time with rated R movies is because comic movies coming out in the waves that they had was virtually unheard of. You know, usually it was like one every couple of years, if that. Now everybody's fucking doing it.
And I'm just going to call this out too. Like, Marvel had a hand in those 2 R-rated movies, so...
Yeah. So, I mean, they were just afraid, I think, to go that route because they thought they were going to lose money. And then they found out, oh, shit, what the hell? Like, adults love seeing stuff like this, you know? So now they know that it's a moneymaker and that it's not going anywhere anytime soon. If anything, they're probably kicking themselves in the ass for all the bullshit that they've given us all these years.
True.
You know?
So, man, yeah, the second that Marvel got bought by Disney, they just been like wrecking shop. And this Thor movie was like a definite, because like, for instance, the second Thor movie, was there a second one? Yeah.
Dark World.
Whatever that was, the Dark
World.
Whatever. Yeah, I didn't like that. It was super boring to me, in my opinion. Like, there were some parts that were good. First one was super boring, but I mean, you need origin stories. The second one was still boring. Like, I watched it like 2 or 3 times and I still only remember bits and pieces. But this one was like by far the best out of all of them. And it was so good.
No, I'm saying I like the second movie better than the third one.
That's because you're garbage.
Well,
Got him.
No, fuck that. The third movie was, it was just like, it was good. It was really, really good. But it was like just happy fun time. Like I'm
with Tino. I like the Dark World too, but I don't want you to pick on me.
I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't a good movie, but seriously, it felt like, I mean, I know Marvel is known for being, at least in comparison to DC most of the time, you know, being like happy fun time, but really like this was the first, not even that. Spider-Man had that vibe too, where even the most of serious scenes were like still pretty happy.
Well, that's because in the Spider-Man comics, he's always throwing jokes around. So even when things are super serious in the comics, that's pretty much the tone of things, because he's sarcastic as fuck, and he's always cracking jokes.
Which is
Spider-Man
fine,
made sense. Same with Deadpool.
But that's not the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is that you feel like the directors are going out of their way to give it that happy sunshine vibe.
I don't know. I didn't feel like it was personally. I didn't feel like it was going out of the way. Like all the comedic relief was like well placed in my opinion, and there was still enough dark stuff happening to be like, oh shit, like shit's still going
Well,
down.
now for a Marvel movie, we're not going to go through this movie like scene for scene. We're just going to talk about it. But the biggest thing you see on Facebook is that it was more of a comedy than it was an action flick. Do you think that's a problem?
Well, Marvel has been catching a lot of flack for it as late, for having, for continually breaking those really moments, or those moments that should be a little bit more tense with like a joke or something. It's even if it's a really small joke, it's like, did you really need it right then and there? Like you could have waited a couple minutes or something.
Because Thor was never this funny. He was never this carefree.
Well, they were building
Well,
him
it
up.
wasn't just his character either. It was other characters that were coming out throughout the movie that were, adding to that comedy.
It's just like the weight of this, the gravity of the situation that they were in, and comparing it a little bit loosely to the comics. I'm not going to get into detail on that because obviously they went a completely different direction. So I mean, it just kind of favored some of the things from the comics. It was like a loose outline, but I mean, with like Hulk being where he was, and the people fighting for their freedoms and all that type of stuff, and because they didn't want to be captured anymore. Like I just not at any point I never got any type of vibe where like you felt kind of bad and wanted the heroes to win. Everything was kind of just happy go lucky. Like that's kind of what irked me a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I never felt bad with the Coliseum part because obviously he gets out of there. The only part that I felt bad for was for the Asgardians and like the ones that were like being wrecked while he's trying to get out of there. Which I mean, he did put emphasis on trying to get out of that prison like the whole time.
Yeah.
Based on that, he's like, we need to go back and save the people. Like, my sister's a fucking crazy bitch, and she's trying to, basically cull everybody.
Do you feel like they really showed the characters reacting to everything that was going on? So, like, for instance, Thor, losing his dad, or even, coming back and seeing what Loki was doing, and like even when people found out Loki was pretending to be Odin, like they didn't really react negatively to it. It was just kind of like, oh, haha, Loki's here, he's not dead. I don't know. I feel like we never really got to see people truly react to some of the fucked up shit that was going on.
No, because they painted a fucking comedy brush over it. Like when they found that out.
So to be fair, they really didn't bring Odin into the type of person that he truly is in the comics. Like there's no way any of that shit would have happened to him in the comics. I'm just gonna lay it out flat. Like Odin's one of the most like freaking tanky, stompy, characters in the Marvel universe. Like there's no way that Loki would have been able to trick him out of his seat of power and stick him on Earth to, rot away. Like that never would have happened in the comics, first of all. So that happening in the movie was like, that was the thing that kind of irritated me the most about it. Cause I was like, this is bullcrap. Like Odin would probably thump him with his pinky and Loki would probably disappear for a little bit. Like there's no way in hell. But with that being said, for the route that they went with it, like in the sad moments to me, it was sad and you can tell that people were hurting. And in the moments where, it was lighter, I don't know. For me, it didn't feel forced. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like parts that kind of started to get boring, in my opinion, were brought back with a slight joke here and there. Like when Hulk and Thor meet each other in the Coliseum, which I'm sure Tino and I could rant about the whole Coliseum thing with Hulk in the first place. Because there's a whole different like subset of comics just for Hulk, period, of him being on a different world called like World War Hulk. And it just goes in depth about how he gets stuck there. And it's like a lot more bleak and fucking terrible. But like him like getting all excited when he realizes it's the Hulk he's fighting and going, yes, this is my friend. Like I liked that. I thought it was awesome and good placement for that personally.
You said you got puny arms.
Yeah. And he just talked about like Hulk is a big, great burning fire and you're just a smoldering one. I was just like,
when he yelled at him, "You're embarrassing me. I told him we were friends."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was definitely funny, but like I don't know, just going back into what you guys were saying, I really truly felt like they took the comedy brush and painted over a lot of those scenes because they were sad, but they just like it was almost like Marvel didn't even want to give you a chance to feel anything sad. Like when Odin died, like where did he die? He died in like this happy sunshine valley, like on Earth that they randomly were teleported to by Doctor Strange.
Norway.
Cliff.
But it just looked, so beautiful and happy, and like it was a really short scene, so they didn't even give you like a second to kind of soak it in. And
Well, to be fair, also like they're trying to appeal to younger kids too. No young kid's gonna want to like sit through a super serious movie the whole time.
What about Bambi? Are you fucking kidding me right now? That was sad as shit.
Bambi was happy-go-lucky for like 90% of the movie. There was like 2 parts that was
Yeah,
super
but you
sad.
felt it. You felt it. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, we didn't have really an emotional connection to Odin, and anybody that reads the comics knows that Thor really doesn't have like a super in-depth, oh my god, that's my father, like attachment.
Yeah, but they're
to
not
him.
even going by comics. They're going just straight by doing whatever the fuck it is they do. Because if they're going by comics, then fucking Hela wouldn't have been, their older sister.
Well, I know this, but I'm just saying, like, some of the things that were sad, like, I felt it was appropriately sad. Like, and even to be fair, like, Bran drove me nuts the whole time watching this movie because, like, every 30 minutes, it was like, is it almost done yet? I'm bored. I don't want to be here anymore. And I was just like, child, let me watch this. Let me enjoy it. And then he just got super excited about Hulk, and he calls Hulk Smash. Like, that's all it is. But any scene that Hulk was not in, Bran was, like, disinterested. So,
all right. Well, moving on from me being dissatisfied with certain aspects, because that's the only part that I was, upset with.
is that too much comedy for you?
Yeah, it was.
As
too
I think,
much,
I
but-
think that's a problem with everyone else.
But I mean, outside of that, though, and the disconnect from the comics, which we all know that we knew that was coming after they did what they did in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I was like, you can't even make me mad anymore. But everything else was pretty fucking good. I loved Jeff Goldblum's character. How do you guys feel about him?
Oh, I like him. I like him in anything. Just before we got on, I found out who his brother was, and I'm pretty excited about that. I hope they connect that somehow, but I doubt it.
Well, they're making the Grandmaster and the Collector brothers, even though really they're just like guardians, and not necessarily
Elders.
Or yeah, but whatever. I mean, either way, they're tying it together, and it makes sense. That's why they gave him that little like blue lip looking thing. But either way, like I thought his character was like really good, really interesting. Because in the comics, he came off as being like really dry and just being.
Oh yeah,
an elder.
he was funny in this one. He was likable when he's like, slave is such a harsh word. I prefer prisoners with benefits.
No. Well, that's not what he said. He was like, I don't like the S word. And then that chick that was just angry all the time was like, all right, I'm sorry. The prisoners that are forced to work are revolting.
Yeah. Because I mean, obviously with me being a casual, like I read up a little bit after seeing the movie on certain characters, and like reading about Jeff Goldblum's character as an elder. In this movie, they made it seem like, all right, this dude has been around for a very long time, so now he's just trying to, find a way to pass the time, because as a mortal being, it's kind of hard to stay entertained for so long. So he just, he found a place to sit and was like, all right, well, now I'm gonna take over this area, get my gladiators going, and just try to enjoy this life that I have.
Yeah, he's all right. How'd you feel about
He's like,
Tessa Thompson or whatever that played Valkyrie? She's now the background wallpaper on my phone. I want to sleep with her so bad. I love her.
Wow.
He's aight.
meanwhile, Kathy's watching you from the door frame, glaring with like cat eyes that are glinting because a little bit of light hit off of them.
She better start cosplaying as Valkyrie or something, then get her life together. I don't know.
But no, she was bad.
We'll have to figure
That's
that
all I
out.
can say about that. She was badass.
Dude, she was bad as fuck. So,
Her reaction when Thor was telling that story about the snake, that was pretty cute. I think that was the only part where she was
Good
cute.
fucking story.
Where he said once we were children, he transformed into a snake, and he knows I love snakes, so
Because he knows, oh my god, I know you
I
know
picked-
God. That whole fucking.
I picked it up to admire it, and he transferred back and said, "Haha, it's me," and he stabbed me. She's looking at him.
Oh, man.
I laughed so hard. Did you know I was actually reading up on like scenes and stuff that they cut out, and I guess like they said something about there being like a scene from the past for them where like there was a fat Thor and an emo like Loki, and I was
That
just like,
would've
what
been
the
interesting.
fuck? Yeah, to see that specific scene of like this snake thingy or whatever with Thor being a fat child and Loki just being emo as fuck, stabbing him. Like I
Oh,
would have
man.
fucking
Did
cried.
anyone else pop when he was in the chair?
did we what?
So when he wakes up in the chair, he's transported to see the Grand Master. And before he arrives, the tune plays like kind of like elevator music, and it's Pure Imagination by Gene Wilder from Willy Wonka.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the right away I was just like, oh, it's the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory song, and I got looked at like I was crazy, and I was just like, never mind.
I loved it. I think I'm gonna make it my ringtone, but I'm a piece of shit, so I'll probably forget about it.
I was watching too intently. That shit went right over my head.
Oh.
Yeah, I did not give a fuck. I was just like, well, I'm just trying to focus.
I heard
on
it
the
right
movie.
when it get off, and I fucking stood up. I'm like, hey, feels.
My childhood.
Oh,
What about that? When he met Doctor Strange.
that was a good scene.
That whole fucking
Their chemistry was really good together. I thought he was just a complete dick. Like when he was walking through his house and he summoned his hammer disguised as the umbrella and was smashing all his fucking shit and was just staring at him awkwardly. Hear shit smashing.
Right,
over.
He keeps
Oh,
teleporting
sorry,
him,
man.
and he keeps on getting more unbalanced and more. He does the last one.
Do you know what I was
He does that
immediately
one, and he goes down the
sad
stairs.
about with Doctor Strange? Did anybody notice something about his face that was missing?
Facial hair?
No.
Can we talk about how there's not going to be any awesome facial hair, bro, comments in this Infinity War stuff?
Oh,
Unless he magically grows it between now and then. I was sad. I was just like, but where's it at?
He
though?
may.
I can imagine him
we'll see.
keeping it from not growing.
Fuck, this was a comedy. Now that I think about it, everything was fucking funny. When he's getting the umbrella and it's going through his house.
That's what he was just like talking about.
Everything was funny, dude. Fucking
He was smashing
not a
up the whole
serious
house.
moment when Hulk looks back, or I'm sorry, Bruce Banner looks back and fucking jumps onto the fucking Biofrost.
Boy, and he just fucking knocked himself out.
It looked like a fish being tossed onto the cement. I was like, oh my god, Mark Ruffalo's body.
He's just like, this is why I look familiar to you. You're about to see.
God.
I've got this. And she just looks
That
at him like,
shit
what the fuck?
The dog was like,
When the second he hit that thing, I was like, I hope he's not dead. I think he just killed himself.
I was hoping he would be like blacked out for a little bit and then like, but nah, he
even
just popped
the
back up as the
dog
Hulk
was
later.
like, what the fuck?
Well, he did pass out, and I think the Hulk took that chance to take over.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
I really liked Idris Elba's character. He looked like he was fucking like he was Michonne from The Walking Dead, the way he was running around Asgard in the woods. I mean, he did. His hair was all fucking wild and crazy, but I mean, he was.
He was.
I don't know. I just
That was satisfying.
Cool as he's.
At that point.
Wow. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
goddamn.
Well, I mean, that's more accurate than Michonne. I mean, he was guiding them to freedom.
Yeah, Heimdall.
Jesus. Okay. Thanks, John, for that history lesson.
At least they weren't like in the Underground Railroad though. They were like escaping via like regular routes.
Gia, I'm sure they didn't. Did you catch the Beta Ray Bill statue,
Yeah.
like the face of him?
Yes.
And then they showed it a couple times, and like I was trying to make out who else was on there because it looked like they had some other familiar faces, but I couldn't put my finger on who it was. I'll have to maybe look that up as like an Easter egg thing or something later. But
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I couldn't remember the third one, but obviously, yeah, Beta Ray and the Hulk.
well, fuck the
there.
Hulk.
Yeah, the Hulk's head wasn't even like finished being made.
Yeah, it was the center head, and then I think Beta was the right side.
No, Beta Ray Bill was top left. I remember. But
Okay.
I don't know. I felt weird about the Hulk after that scene with him in the hot tub. And then like they were like, "Yeah, man, you're naked. Maybe just stay there." Nope. Hulk got up anyways. And he was like, "Oh god."
Dude, bro, you have no idea. My son, the first thing he goes, "What? Hulk's booty?" And then all I got to hear was about Hulk's butt, like for the rest of the dang movie. Anytime he decided to grace me with his verbal accusations of the movie being
Mom, did
boring.
you see those cheeks? Jeez, so green.
I like Hulk's booty. He's got a nice booty. I was like, "Bro, shut
One
the hell
scene
up."
that made me cringe is when Thor bounced the ball off the window and it hit him in the face, and he got back up.
What?
I was like, oh, come on.
There were a lot of just
It was cheesy. Yeah, it was a funny movie, but thousands or hundreds of Asgard soldiers are dead.
You guys are irking me again. Like when Thor gets his hair cut, you know what I mean? They made that scene super fun. Everything was fucking funny. God damn it.
yeah. It's like the more I think about it, it's like Damn, dude. When was there?
If video stores were still around,
like Steven,
that would be in the comedy section.
I mean, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm still not mad. I still like it.
It was fun. It was fun.
I still did too. I enjoyed it thoroughly, but
Still think it wouldn't have killed them to just have a couple of short, like actually serious scenes, just for a tiny bit of balance that I couldn't say what I'm saying right now. That's the only thing that bugged
I think
me.
the most serious part was when fucking Ella came back and like she was walking with fuck, I can't remember his name. But when they basically went into the throne room and she broke the ceiling tile down, and you could see like the old painting of her and her father, like just wrecking shit.
Yeah, breaking shop.
I think that was. I don't necessarily remember any funny parts from that.
No, there was no
No.
immediate comedy surrounding that.
Yeah, and then it went into her.
Yeah, no, none of the scenes really with her except her like wrecking shop on the whole like army, basically. Yeah, and then like all the rest of the scenes with her was basically like her getting scourged to like try to embrace his new slot as her executioner, and then like I think there wasn't comedy again until really right at the end when Thor blasts her, basically.
So people like Tino and even me a little bit. We don't mind the comedy, but there's a little too much of it. What's gonna happen when Thor gets back with Stark? Do you think they're gonna put Thor back to being formal and proud, and Stark is gonna get the funny role, or are they both just gonna do it? And every time you get a scene with them,
I think they're gonna keep it happy-go-lucky like they've been doing. I think
Because
they're
I
just
mean,
staying that path.
I don't think with Infinity, like the Infinity stuff, they're gonna make it like super light. I think they're getting most of it out of their system now because of like the gravity of the whole Infinity War like movie set and everything that's gonna happen and everybody that they're gonna have to like make time and space for in the movies.
yeah.
well, in Age of
Like-
Ultron, they showed that dark scene where everyone
And-
was jacked up. I mean, but
Yeah, and then also like on top of that, like Hulk and Thor have always had like a kind of comedic thing between the two of them, where Hulk will always try to take pot shots at Thor, and Thor like at first would just get like tanked, and then like he got to the point where he started blocking it with Mjolnir or whatever. So I expect there to be more comedy between the two of them than between
I
Thor and
mean,
any of the other
I
regulars.
think what's going to determine whether or not it's going to go that route is what they do with Black Panther. If Black Panther ends up being a fucking Tyler Perry comedy, then there's no hope. Like it's gonna be funny all the way through. But if they do it, at least semi-serious like they did every other Marvel movie except Spider-Man, then I think there's still hope for balance. Because I just wasn't expected. Like if you like really sit down and think about it, because all the other movies were pretty good. I'd say the weakest, and he's my favorite character, but the weakest were probably the Iron Man trilogy. As far as like how
Yeah, I
good they
think
were.
for me, the only one that was good in that one was the third one. I didn't like the first one was kind of meh to me. The second one irked my soul, but I really liked the third one.
I think the second one was the worst.
yeah, I like
I
the
agree with
second.
you,
The
John.
third one wasn't that cool.
Well, the third one would have been perfect until they did what they did to Mandarin, and I was like, "See, now you lost me." I was like, "This is a joke, right? Like Mandarin's gonna come back, and that's the end of the movie. Okay, why would you do that?"
Oh, what? Mandarin's just like a figurehead and not really the real Mandarin that we know and love from the comics? What?
Right? They could have even watered him down like immensely. Gave him no powers, anything. Just made him real and like a fucking asshole. But nah, they took it out, and that's what ruined that movie for me because that was one of my favorite villains. Iron Man being one of my favorite heroes. But like I was saying, like with all the movies, like you had some serious elements to it. All the Captain America movies, serious elements. I mean, the only one that was like mostly bubbly, but I feel like they got away with it because it had a couple of semi-serious moments. Was Ant-Man. Ant-Man was probably the best Marvel movie to date, I'd say.
Really?
Yeah, easily. I think Paul Rudd fucking killed it. I think for the fill-in like scenes for the background story, like when they had I forget the actor's name, but he's like he's a comedian and he was like telling the story
Oh,
of
he was doing a
what the
voiceover.
fuck was it with him like going to,
Is that what you mean?
he was like telling well maybe he was like a storyteller. It wasn't Aziz, it was somebody else. You guys remember that movie or no?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's telling a story. He's literally telling a story like in the movie, and it's like, you know, really, really funny at the time. And that's like towards the beginning, and he makes like another small appearance towards the end. And that's like, you know, you're over the top, like, you know, comedy. They're pushing it out. Everything else was just like subtle one-liners, you know, throughout the movie.
Right. You get it out of the way, and then, you know, there's something for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, and the serious scenes aren't so dark that it like feels like it's forced. You know, like you feel the dark tone. But, you know, you still balance it out, you know, maybe after the end of 10 minutes of holy shit, you know, a one-liner or two.
I mean, Thor's,
boom, move along.
in like Thor's comedy originally, when, you know, all these movies started, whenever he would show up, was more of him not knowing the customs and how things work on Earth. And that made him funny, but it wasn't like he was purposely trying to be funny. And I think, I mean, and they may be showing this because he spent so much time on Earth with Stark and some of the other people, especially with Stark being.
And that's what I was gonna say too. I think it's just his personality has shifted and changed, and with spending time with, you know, regular humans on Earth.
I was over it the fourth time he got electrocuted. I was like, really? We're just gonna keep doing this?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I was like, all right. I mean, I was like chuckly the first maybe 2 times, but 4 times, and I think they did it even more than that. I stopped counting. I was just like, all right, well, okay.
Yeah, it was quite a few times, and I don't think like the first couple times was hilarious, but I think the other times were more of to make a point because he almost broke out of the chair, so they shocked him again to keep him down. And then once they like, of course, they didn't want him to beat Hulk because he was about to fucking destroy Hulk, and they shocked him.
Yeah, I mean, like again, I mean, and I hate to beat a dead horse, but like that's just what it was, you know, because like when you look at even like World War Hulk, and you look at the first adaptation where they did Planet Hulk, even that had like super serious tones. And I know that it's technically a Thor movie, but with them, you know, bringing the Hulk's element into there, I feel like they could have capitalized a little bit for the serious tones. Just on his situation, you know, he was never sad. You know, Hulk was in there and he was so happy to be the hero and all this, and it's the exact opposite of what we saw. And that's fine. I know they changed things, but I mean, at the end of the day, he's still a fucking slave in captivity, and they could have used that to their advantage to have a couple sad points. You know, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but you and everyone else are starting to figure out that you can't go by the comics anymore. They're going to do what they want. You don't even know what to expect with the Infinity Wars
exactly
now.
What I'm saying, and that's fine, you know. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, he's still a fucking slave in captivity. They could have had a sad point from that.
They could have, but I mean, they kind of stuck with the dumb Hulk. And as you and I both know, in Planet Hulk and World War Hulk, it got to the point where he was basically synonymous with being Banner. Like, it's like their personalities had completely meshed together, their mindsets. And it wasn't just, you know, I'm Hulk and I'm dumb and I'm stupid. It was, I'm in Hulk's body, but I'm pretty much still Bruce Banner. And it results in him taking over the Coliseum and being in charge of the whole planet. And long story short, like, he gets trapped there by his friends because they think that he's gonna, you know, destroy a bunch of shit. And then they go even further and try to, you know, blow the planet up. And it's a lot more sad shit going on in Planet Hulk than this kind of watered down version of, like, super watered down version of it. Like, there wasn't anything super sad for him because he was just being Hulk. I like to smash things and I like to fight. So for him, it didn't seem sad at all. And yeah, he was in captivity, but he wasn't like, they never made it that he was, I guess, it never felt like he was forced to stay there. It felt like he was staying there just because he was simply just good at beating the shit out of people, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not arguing that. I mean, the way that they did it, June, what I'm saying, you know, there's another side to that coin, which is what they played. I'm just saying that would have been, you know, if they wanted to take an opportunity to add a little bit of a, you know, sad element, that would have been the perfect opportunity to add something, you know, subtle.
Yeah, because I felt bad for Banner. It was like, damn, dude, he's been a Hulk for 2.5 years and
nope, he was fine.
I actually don't like Banner too much, and I thought it was hilarious when he woke up and they were like, we're not going to look at the Hulk anymore, and he fucking, you know, goes into the streets and everybody's got the fucking Hulk piñatas and the Hulk face masks, and they're all fucking dancing and singing. That part was funny and I think necessary, because it might be low key because I don't really care for Mark Ruffalo personally as an actor, but whatever.
Well, I mean, as a character himself, whether you care for the actual actor or not, but like, it still kind of sucks. Like, damn, dude, you lost 2 years of your fucking life.
I mean, what life was he really living before he was the Hulk?
I can see it. I can see why they did it though. You can't have all that funny and then have something sad because one or the other will seem trivial.
Yeah, I just, just like a constant barrage of humor. I mean, again, like I liked it. I would go see it again. And I'd be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
That's just my only like nitpick. I mean, like, just because that's not something that I'm used to from them. So maybe I was expecting a little bit more because they do it all the time. They always have tons of balance. And it felt very one-sided this time around. But
Exactly.
it's still better than any fucking DC movie I have ever seen.
That's fine. That's fine.
But we'll see what happens with was it Justice League that's coming out in I think 2 weeks?
Yeah.
My
Can't wait to
expectations
cover.
are so low.
I have super low expectations. I honestly like the only one of those movies that I've liked so far has been Wonder Woman. And honestly, I feel like they probably would have done better to do kind of stories bringing in, I don't know, for instance, The Flash. Like,
Yeah,
but honestly, I have such low expectations that I even forgot that it's coming out soon.
everybody does. It's like, yeah, I have no desire.
By the way, we do have a Wonder Woman show if anyone wants to check that out. Shouldn't be that too far back.
I just want to get a collector's cup with Aquaman on it. He's so hot.
Here we go.
That's what all the girls are
Jason
saying.
Momoa.
Just wait. It's coming.
Yeah, so to wrap it up, Thor was fun. I don't like what it promotes, but it was fun either way. So we'll see what happens with the Infinity Wars. Anyone else
No,
have
I
anything
was
to
just
add?
confused at what it promoted exactly, but
Comedy. I don't want that much comedy in every Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Right?
It was fun. I don't want to.
I mean,
I don't
we
want to
can
see
all-
that.
I
all the
mean,
time.
I don't think it's going to
They
be.
get pissed
Yeah.
after a while. Well,
I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed
This-
it. I
this
didn't
movie
have an
was
issue
pretty
with
good.
it, but I don't think this is going to be like every movie is going to be exactly like this now thing. So
Hope not.
Well, it doesn't make or break it. It's just, constructive criticism, if we're talking about it from like a fan perspective. But like either way, like I can't argue. I think everybody on this show, would agree. Like
Yeah.
it was a great movie, like that's just being nitpicky because we have to, dive into what our likes and dislikes. But I mean, I fucking loved it. I'd buy it. I'd go and see it again. I wouldn't even get it on bootleg right away.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of other media outlets have been agreeing, like the comedy should die down a little bit, but not, 100%. But it is getting a little too much.
All right. So before we wrap up, I wanted to mention something. I watched anime that shook me. It's 3 movies: Berserk, The Golden Age Arc. Has anyone seen
how
that?
are you just now seeing that? We've been talking about Berserk forever.
First of all, who's we? Second of all, I think I
First
started
of
a
all, me and
series and
Tino.
it was like the wrong series.
I'm pretty sure that I've even said don't watch the trash anime that came out like in the early 90s or wherever the hell it came out because it's garbage. And I've always promoted watching the Golden Age OVA that they did because it's the most accurate portrayal. And this is when we were telling you to watch the anime that just got released last year.
Damn.
I
Yes,
never
you
heard that
did.
shit.
I'm calling your ass
I did
out.
see the anime. It's still going on.
Steven
I didn't
hears
hear
what
that
he
shit.
wants to
Tino
hear.
and I were talking about the anime and talking about how like the graphics on it look kind of shitty, but how it's still accurate to the story. And like we even mentioned that people should watch the Golden Age OVAs. So I'm calling BS on you right now, Steven. Bullshit.
Doesn't
Bullshit.
ring a fucking
I never
bell.
rings a bell.
John, you
don't remember shit. You bum.
Jesus.
Man, I can't help you.
John,
man.
have you seen this?
I can't help you.
John never remembers anything.
No,
How dare
I
go
know
with
you
that?
haven't seen it, but I want to tell you about how this third movie in this trilogy, it's a great story, all 3 movies, but the third movie is like the darkest thing you'll ever see. It'll make you feel, because I know you like that dark grunge shit and you like to feel sad. This will make you feel terrible.
Yeah, like it's definitely bad. Like it's the whole like flagship to where the manga is right now and what the story evolved into being because of all of
Yeah,
this stuff that happened. It's kind of
It's rough. I was watching it with Tino's cousin. I'm like, we're probably not going to bang tonight, but we did anyway, so it all worked out. So the reason I bring it up is because if anyone hasn't watched those 3 movies, check them out. You got to. It's going to be one of the best things you ever saw. But the end of that movie, where do I go to now?
so you would go to the anime that they released last year. They started to do. You're gonna be really sad with some of the animation because it looks like they could have done it a whole lot better.
That's fine. I'm more of a story guy, anyways.
But the story continues on from where the Golden Age basically left off.
So that's the one's ongoing right now.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask.
But you still haven't watched Guyver.
Dude, I gotta go back on that because it's the same thing as Gats. You haven't watched Gats, and I haven't watched Guyver, so that's where we are.
First off, I've skimmed through.
No, I didn't ask you to skim.
I think a
And
brand new
I've-
one that you guys should watch is
Have
Jamie Tyson, but there's that.
Hold on, I'm yelling at fuckboy over here. Did you even fucking read the manga from Gats?
Yeah. No. You know I didn't.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly.
You know I didn't fucking read it.
Well, yeah, I know you didn't, but I did. That's why I was like, in the anime, like I started to watch it, but it was like super trash compared to the manga and compared
The anime
to
was awesome.
the movie.
That's why I'm telling you to watch it. I wouldn't have you watch something that isn't awesome. And I'm not
If you fucking read a manga for once in your goddamn life, then you would know that that's false. But all I'm asking you to do is to sit through fucking 25, what is it, 22, 25 episodes of Guyver. You can't even do that. Have you checked out Parasite yet?
Yeah, I watched Parasite. I probably watched it before you.
There's no fucking
Yeah,
way.
I probably watched it before you. I'm pretty sure. Let's just say I did.
No, you didn't.
There's no fucking,
Let 'em have
there's
it.
no way.
Yeah. I watched it a long time ago.
I think Gia beat me to Parasite actually, because like I was on the fence about watching it because I was like, this might be really good or super.
I
terrible.
watched it when I seen the GIF in Body Snatchers.
To be fair, I read the manga from like the time that they started translating it. So when that show came out, I immediately watched it because I absolutely love the manga. So
Yeah, and you were singing about it, and I was like, okay, I was on the fence, and now it's a go, green light, and she was exactly right. It was.
Tino,
awesome.
did you
Like,
watch
I
Cash Your
powered
Sins
through it.
like I told you to, like I demanded?
I like how this just turned into a have you watched all these different animes?
Let him answer.
What have you
I
done for
didn't
me
because
lately?
you haven't done anything for me yet. Your name just released today on Blu-ray, by the way. Yeah. How about that? Well, I think we should all rewatch that and do a fucking show on
I
that.
would love to do a show on that.
Well, it just came out on fucking Blu-ray. It's a
I
fucking
Let's do it
watched
then.
it several times. So I'm very familiar with the story.
Seen what?
John, have you seen
I
that
hope they
movie?
change a bunch of things and Gia's like not knowing what's going
Your
on.
name? Oh my god. You're so fired. Fuck out of here.
John doesn't do anything fun. John, I'm a complicated man. I like hookers, blackjack, and blow, and you're not fun at all.
Those are all some pretty fun things.
Right?
So, John, you watch that Golden Age arc and get back to me. 'Cause
All I
you're
know
gonna
is
like it.
Tino's name is about to be Bender.
I'll get my own podcast with blackjack and hookers.
Do you like the episode where he became a human and he fucking killed himself from partying too
Yeah,
much?
he ate himself to death.
Yeah, he just became like overweight and alcoholic, like his everything's shutting down and he just died.
Hey, he's still alive. He's still saying woo. No, that's just the air escaping from his body, and then they roll him out. All right, it's 105. Let's sign off. So, all right, boys and girls, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the support. However, wherever you're doing it, we feel it every week. So keep it up, and we'll keep coming back. So for Gia, John, Tino, and Steve, tell someone you love them. Take care.
Bye.
Buenos noches.
Garbage.
This is a song of Steven's people.